This video is on descriptive statistics. We're going to be looking at frequency graphs. We've seen a dot plot. This type of frequency graph can be called a histogram. This is another way we can see frequency graphs. Histograms are similar to bar graphs, but use intervals. Bars will always touch each other, so there won't be any space between them, and have the same length from side to side. So we can't have one that's really big and then a smaller value or a smaller bar. So we also won't have a space in between them. Our bars have to actually touch each other. So intervals, the intervals we're going to have, can never overlap each other. And they must have the same amount of numbers. So example, 0 through 4 is an interval of 5 numbers because it starts at 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. And the next interval would be from 5 to 9 because we want 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values. So all intervals have to have the same numbers in between them, and they can never overlap. So my example of 0 to 4 does not overlap with 5 to 9. So the numbers on the left show the start of the interval to the right. So we have the start of the interval to the right, which is the new section. So the way we can do this, we're going to create a histogram of our data above using intervals of 2. Our data above were the birthday months. So I'm going to use this same data to actually create histogram with intervals of 2. Our first number was 1 because we had January. So here's our intervals. And we're going to have our frequency on the left. So if we're using intervals of 2, our first number should be 1 because our first month is January, not 0. We do not have the value of 0 because that is not a month. So I need to have intervals of 2. That means I have to have 1, January, and February inside of here. So then March will start here because the number on the left is showing the start of the new interval. So this is my new interval. This is March and April. Then I'll have May and June. Then I'll have July and August. Then September and October. November and December. And then technically I'll have a 13 here, but 13 doesn't actually exist. Then I'll also have my frequency is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So for January and February, we had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had a total of 5 for January and February. So my bar would go all the way up, and I would shade this in up to 5. Then I would have for 3, so the interval of 3 to 4, so March and April, I would have 2 plus 4 is a total of 6. So then my bar would go up to 6, and I would shade this in. I'm going to use a different color to show that interval. My next interval is for May and June, which if we look at our data, May is 2, June is 4, so that's also 6. So I would have it at the frequency of 6. And I would shade this in a different color, just so I can see the differences. But notice that our bars are actually still touching. This is still the frequency of 5 to 6, so of May and June. I haven't looked at July yet because this is the start of my new interval, so 7 and 8. So July and August. So July is at 2 and August is at 1. So 2 and 1 is 3. So that frequency would be at 3 for here. And I'll use this blue to color that one in. My next interval is from 9 and 10. So for 9 and 10, that's at 0 and 2. So I have the frequency of 2. So I'll just use pink for this one. And then the last interval is for 11 and 12, which is November and December, which is 1 plus 2 is 3. So that value, that frequency is 3. And they still have to touch, so I connect those. And I just use different colors here to represent the different intervals. Because we want to do intervals of 2, we had to start with 1. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12. Technically this 13 doesn't have to be there, but it's nice to know what that next interval would be if we needed to keep going. Now we're going to create a histogram of our data above using the intervals of 4. So intervals of 4. So we're going to start again at 1, but this will be 1, 2, 3, and 4. So then I need to start my new interval at 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'll have 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 13. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 4 numbers in this bar, 4 numbers in this bar, and 4 numbers in that bar. I always need to make sure that my intervals have the same amount of numbers in the actual bars. So frequency is going to go on this side. So let's determine what we should count up to. So I need to go 1 through 4. So I'll have 1 plus 4 plus 2 plus 4. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11. We have to go at least to 11. Then for 2, 4, 2, and 1, so that's 8, 9, and then 5. So we have to go up to 11. If I count by 1s, I'm only going to get up to 10. So let's count by 2s instead. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So for January, February, March, and April, there were 11. Again, it was 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4, 6, 10, 11. So I'll go to 11 right here and draw down. And this will be my first interval. So I have 11 months that are, or 11 of them, 11 people who have birthdays between January, February, March, and April. For May, June, July, and August, so 5 through 8, we have 2 plus 4, 6, 8, 9. So we have 9 people who have birthdays in May, June, July, and August. So I'll put my graph at 9 here, down, and I'll color this one in. And then for September, October, November, and December, we have 2 plus 1 plus 2 is 5. So we'll have 5. And we will color this one in. So we have more people who have birthdays in January, February, March, and April than we do in May, June, July, and August, and September, October, November, December. So on our last one here, we want to create a histogram of our above data above using intervals of 6. So intervals, we want to have 6 values inside of it. So we want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values and 6. There, that means that my next number should be 7 here. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values. And this one should end on a 13. That tells us that we have 6 data points in between 1 and 7, and 6 data points between 7 and 13. So for frequency, we can potentially count up to 20 again, because we know that there's only 25 total, and we can see in our data that all 25 of them are not in the first half of the year. So we can just count up to 20 again. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So we want January, February, March, April, May, and June. So 1 through 6. So 1 through 6, we have 1 plus 4 plus 2 plus 4 plus 2 plus 4. That's a total of 17. So 4, 6, 10, 12, 16, 17. So 17 for January through June. This is January through June. And then for July through December, we have 2, so plus 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 and 17 is 25, so that does make sense. So we have 8. Frequency of 8, come down. So we have more students who have birthdays in the first half of the year than we do in the second half of the year. So the intervals help us know the actual frequency of different birthdays. We could have done a dot plot that shows us the frequency of each individual birthday. We can also do the histograms to see the frequency of half of the year, the first half of the year versus the second half of the year, or every 2 months, or every 4 months. So we can actually determine which part of the year has more birthdays. Now, to make a little note to remind us for the intervals, 1 through 3, so that interval of 1 to 3 here is really just 1 and 2. For this interval, from 1 to 5 is actually really 1, 2, 3, and 4, because the 5 starts the new interval. So again, same thing here for this interval, 1 through 7 here is really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, because the 7 starts the new interval. So the intervals, again, the number on the left actually shows the start of the new section, starts the new interval on the right-hand side. So this 5 starts the new interval. The 9 starts the new interval because it's starting the interval.